At the end of his run in the Clone Wars, we saw Maul, along with his younger brother Savage Opress, duel with Darth Sidious after the Dark Lord had found out that his former apprentice had survived after his defeat at the hands of then Jedi Padawan Obi-Wan Kenobi during the invasion of Naboo some years earlier. After killing his younger brother and defeating Maul himself, Sidious would tell him that he would have quote-unquote other plans for him.
Do not worry. I'm not going to kill you. I have other uses for you.
Today we're looking at what those plans were and what happened with Maul throughout this incredibly interesting chain of events. After the duel on Mandalore, Sidious took Maul as his prisoner and brought him to the remote world of Stygian Prime, where the Confederacy of Independent Systems operated the Spire, a prison fortress in the mountains. On Senator Almec's orders, Sidious's vessel was pursued by Maul's Death Watch forces, with the intention of rescuing their captive leader. Once he was in prison, Maul was subjected to torture at the hands of the Sith, as Sidious reminded Maul that he still had plans for his former apprentice. The two were interrupted by Count Dooku, whose arrival angered Maul. Dooku returned to Maul after conspiring with Sidious, with orders from the Dark Lord to learn more about the Shadow Collective and the names of Maul associates. Dooku interrogated his predecessor, electrocuting him in an attempt to find information he was seeking. Maul resisted the torture and refused to give up any information. After Dooku left, Rook Kast and Gar Saxon of the Death Watch attacked the prison and rescued their captive leader. The Mandalorians blew a hole in the walls of Darth Maul's cell, and together they rappelled down the mountain and escaped aboard the Death Watch ship. Unknown to Maul and the Death Watch, the Sith intended for Maul to escape so he could lead them to Mother Talzin. Maul and Death Watch regrouped with more of their forces on Zambar. After his arrival, Maul spoke to Prime Minister Almec via hologram, and the Prime Minister told Maul that the prison break was repayment for when Maul released Almec from his imprisonment. Once again in command of his forces, Maul reclaimed his Darksaber and promised the Mandalorians that the war they had longed for was at hand. Soon thereafter, Separatist forces under the command of General Grievous reached Zambar. Grievous launched all of his forces against the Death Watch, with both sides suffering heavy losses. During the battle, Maul destroyed 4 of Grievous's Magna Guard droids and then attacked Grievous himself. Despite Maul's obvious power, he quickly realized that he could not win and backed down from Grievous after Grievous had kicked him hard in the chest. With most of his forces in ruins, Maul ordered his warriors to retreat. Grievous allowed Maul to escape, hoping that Maul would seek out Mother Talzin for help. As Grievous predicted, Maul contacted Mother Talzin after leaving Zambar, calling out to her through the Force for guidance. She appeared to him from afar in a cloud of smoke, and he informed her of his escape from prison and defeat on Zambar. Talzin anticipated that Sidious hoped to lure her into a trap, and she ordered Maul to go to Ord Mantell, where the Black Sun had a base of operations. Once there, Talzin wanted him to gather his forces for another battle against the Separatists, this time to lure Dooku and Grievous into a trap and capture them, which Talzin believed that Sidious would not expect. Talzin herself would not go to Ord Mantell, as she knew she was a target of the Sith Lords. Maul arrived on Ord Mantell and conferred with his Shadow Collective allies, including Zaitan Moj of the Black Sun and Fifi of the Pike Syndicate. He informed them that a battle would take place against the Separatists, who were being lured to Ord Mantell thinking they could capture Maul. Despite some reservation from his allies, Maul was confident that his plan would succeed and they could trap the 2 Separatist leaders. Maul and his allies quickly began planning their attack against the Separatists, which included luring the droid armies to a specific point in the Black Sun-controlled territory so that the Shadow Collective forces could attack them. As the Collective prepared for battle, a team of Night Brother warriors, led by Brother Viscus, arrived after having been sent from Dathomir by Mother Talzin to reinforce Maul's army. While Maul greeted his fellow Night Brothers, the Separatists arrived in orbit and began their attack, using their fleet to bomb the surface of Ord Mantell. Maul immediately ordered his forces to begin carrying out their assault while the Night Brothers were to wait in the command center for further instructions. Maul, meanwhile, made his way to the Mandalorian warships, which he and the Death Watch forces would use to assault the Separatist fleet in orbit. Maul arrived in orbit while the Separatists began landing their troops, as well as Count Dooku on the planet, quickly overwhelming the Shadow Collective army. Maul's ships attacked General Grievous' command vessel before attaching itself to the hull of the Separatist ship so Maul and his forces could board and make their way to the bridge. Once there, Maul and Death Watch eliminated the battle droids defending Grievous, and then Maul subdued him and gave him a choice: disable the signal powering the droids on the surface, or die. Grievous begrudgingly disabled the signal and was taken into custody. Dooku, who engaged and killed the Night Brothers in battle, was captured by the Shadow Collective forces on the surface, while disabled battle droids were eliminated. After the battle, Maul contacted Mother Talzin once again to inform her what happened on Ord Mantell. Talzin promised Maul that with Dooku and Grievous in custody, they would capture Sidious as well, and gain their revenge against him. Maul and his forces cleared off of Ord Mantell, leaving little trace that they were there, and made their way to Vizsla Keep 09, a Mandalorian supply outpost. From the outpost, Maul contacted Darth Sidious, informing him of the capture of Dooku and Grievous. Claiming that he had no further use for the two, Sidious told Maul to kill them, but the former Sith Lord had other plans. Grievous was locked in the brig while Maul tempted Dooku to join him. They were both betrayed by Sidious, so Maul suggested that he and Dooku could be natural allies. Dooku did not believe that Sidious could be challenged, and claimed he did not think he should ally with Maul and Mother Talzin, the latter of whom once tried to kill Dooku. Talzin herself appeared using Night System magic and told the story of how she was once an ally of Sidious, how she was too betrayed when Sidious took Maul from her, and how Sidious was already seeking to replace the Count. Neither Talzin nor Maul believed Dooku would sincerely ally with them, and simply wanted to ensure that he could be taken to Dathomir. As they spoke, a Jedi-led Republic assault team attacked the supply outpost. The Jedi, including Kenobi and Mace Windu, had tracked the Shadow Collective from Ord Mantell. With both of their lives at stake, Dooku feigned an alliance with Maul, while Grievous escaped into chaos using an escape pod. Maul and Dooku engaged the Jedi in a lightsaber duel, which lasted until Cass shot a small explosive towards the Jedi, incapacitating them and allowing the two Sith Lords to escape. Having fled the outpost, Maul and his followers made their way to Dathomir. While en route, Maul was contacted by Moj and the Pikes, who grew concerned that Maul's vendetta was causing the Shadow Collective's plans to fail. Maul assured them that they would be paid and that Sidious would die, allowing the galaxy to be controlled by the Shadow Collective. To ensure loyalty, Maul ordered Saxon to keep the Pikes and the Black Sun in line. He also revealed to Dooku that he knew the Sith Lord was not an ally, and that Sidious had ordered his apprentice to feign an alliance with Maul. Once on Dathomir, Maul was greeted by Brother Viscus, who survived his fight with Dooku on Ord Mantell. The Night Brother told Maul that they were ready for the next step of their plan, so Dooku was taken before Mother Talzin, who appeared before him in a cloud of smoke. She unleashed her magic upon the Sith Lord, using it to draw Dooku's life force so she could physically manifest herself again. Talzin's physical return required a sacrifice, and they had chosen Dooku for that purpose. They were interrupted by an explosion ripping through the area, and the arrival of Grievous and Sidious. Sidious reminded his former apprentice that there was only one plan that mattered: his. The arrival of the Dark Lord and Grievous led to a lightsaber duel, one which Talzin joined after she took control of Dooku's body. Talzin fought Sidious when Maul fought General Grievous, and Sidious quickly gained the advantage over the Dathomir Witch. Sidious bombarded Talzin with Force Lightning, and the Witch released Dooku and appeared in physical form once more. Maul, meanwhile, force-pushed Grievous out of the opening that the explosion created. Once Sidious attacked her with a barrage of lightning, Maul pleaded with his mother to use his own life force to grow more powerful, but Talzin demanded that he retreat as she held off Darth Lord's attacks. The witch used her powers to toss Maul from the freight, and he was dragged away by Cass and another Death Watch warrior. As they fled, Maul watched as Grievous returned to fatally stab Talzin with his lightsabers. Maul fled from Dathomir, which was being attacked by the Separatists. The Shadow Collective, meanwhile, had also been defeated by the Separatist forces. In Sidious's eyes, the former Sith Lord had been eliminated as a rival to the future of the Sith's rule of the galaxy. After his time with the Shadow Collective, Maul and his forces returned to Mandalore, where they remained in hiding for some time. During the waning days of the Clone Wars, they found themselves under siege by the battalion of clone troops led by Captain Rex and former Jedi Padawan Ahsoka Tano. During the siege, Maul briefly crossed lightsabers with Tano, mocking her as they fought, but was lured into the plaza where the former Jedi's comrades trapped Maul in a ray shield. Though Tano was given the opportunity to kill Maul, she instead chose to save Rex. As a result, Maul once again escaped. These events lead us to what we see playing out now in Star Wars Rebels, which will lead to what will seem to be the final encounter between Maul and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Be sure to tell me in the comments, what do you think of the massive story told about Maul, especially after he was once thought to be dead after the Phantom Menace. Also, if you would like to suggest a video, be sure to send it to me on Twitter at Marauders Guild or in the comment section below. Until next time, may the Force be with you all, and I'll see you next time.